Welcome to Deep Sleep Stories. My name is Matt. I know this podcast is quite new, but some of you have been following along for a while now. As you may have noticed, the narrator has changed a couple of times already in just a few months. The truth is, the podcast has been growing extremely slow, and basically nobody has left us any reviews so far. I'm here as the new voice of the podcast and would love to stick around, but I need your support to do so. Please, if you enjoy our content, it would mean so much to us if you could just leave us a review on whichever podcast platform you use. Now, take a deep breath and let's begin tonight's story.
Welcome to Deep Sleep Stories, a tranquil space where you can let your mind drift toward rest. Tonight, you'll explore a gentle celebration unfolding in a magical realm where tiny lights glow in lush meadows and soft breezes carry the warmth of caring hearts. As you settle in, allow the slow, soothing pace of this fairy tale to guide you into a deep and restful sleep. Feel free to close your eyes whenever you wish, knowing each word is here to help you unwind, to coax you gently into relaxation. In just a moment, you'll step into a land filled with shimmering blossoms, graceful creatures, and the warm spirit of Mother's Day in Fairyland. Take a few long, deep breaths now. Notice how the air feels as it flows in, refreshing and pure, and how it seems to carry any lingering tension away as you breathe out. Let your body become more at ease with each inhale and exhale. Let your forehead soften and your shoulders loosen. Your eyelids may feel pleasantly heavy as your mind floats on a calm stream of quiet anticipation. There is no need to do anything but listen, breathe, and drift gently. Soon, you'll travel to a place where fairy dust sparkles in warm sunlight, and a beloved queen awaits a special celebration in her honor. In a hidden valley at the edge of slumber, where tall grasses shimmer with threads of gold beneath faint moonlight and twinkling lanterns, Fairyland stirred for a very important day. Each year, when the cherry blossoms were in full bloom and the soft breeze carried the subtle fragrance of wild violets, the fairy folk gathered to honor mothers far and wide. This year was especially dear, for it was a celebration of their beloved Queen Titania, a radiant figure who embodied kindness, wisdom, and nurturing love. A gentle hush lingered over the forest paths as fairies flitted from branch to branch, their delicate wings humming in a quiet hush. In the calm pre-dawn light, they carefully arranged the morning dew into crystalline drops along ferns and leaves, so each sparkle would reflect the rising sun. When the first soft ray of sunlight peeked over the horizon, the dew caught the light and turned the valley into a glittering tapestry of rainbow hues. Deeper into the meadow, a group of fairy musicians rehearsed the melody that would welcome Queen Titania to the festivities. Their flutes were carved from hollowed reeds, each tuned to the harmony of the wind. Striking little bells dangled from nearby branches, waiting to be chimed by the gentle sway of the breeze. The music was meant to be both celebratory and soothing, a lullaby of appreciation for the gentle mothers who nurtured new life in every nook of this enchanted realm. At the heart of Fairyland, a grand old oak stood proud and tall, its trunk so wide that a dozen fairies could dance upon a single knotted root without crowding one another. This oak had weathered centuries of moonlit dances and sunlit gatherings. Its thick bark was etched with the stories of long-forgotten heroes, hidden among whorls and knots like quiet secrets. Today, beneath its vast canopy, long tables had been fashioned from woven vines, draped with fine linens spun from spider silk. Tiny bouquets of fresh lavender and lilac adorned each corner, releasing a gentle aroma that floated through the still morning air. As the sunlight grew stronger, warming the grass beneath tiny fairy feet, clusters of mothers and children began to arrive. There were winged fairies with silver hair and shimmering gowns, accompanied by baby fairies fluttering in halting, excited patterns. There were woodland spirits, gentle souls with pointed ears and gowns woven from petals, leading little ones who giggled softly at the playful swirl of flower buds caught on the breeze. Some arrived on the backs of hummingbirds, the rapid flutter of wings adding a gentle hum to the atmosphere. Others glided over a winding stream that mirrored the sky, singing lullabies as they made their way to the oak. Everyone seemed to wear a tranquil smile, touched by the anticipation of the day. But amid this cheerful gathering, there was a sweet, delicate hush, as though each fairy and forest creature understood that on this day it was time to honor those who gave life, who nurtured, and who guided with patient wisdom. The hush felt like a respectful bow to the love that mothers share, an embrace of gratitude that settled warmly in the air. A slender fairy named Lilina, known for her gentle kindness and graceful dance, took it upon herself to ensure that every guest felt welcomed. She floated from table to table, guiding newcomers to comfortable seats beneath the oak's swaying branches. Her wings, translucent as the wings of a dragonfly, shimmered with pastel shades that softly matched the blooms around her. She remembered each family, every mother's name, and greeted them as if they were close friends. Children giggled when Lilina bent low to them, whispering playful riddles and handing out tiny sweets wrapped in petals. The candies melted in their mouths like drops of honey, leaving behind a sweet glow that caused them to smile wide. On the periphery of the gathering, a small family of night moth fairies arrived. Their wings were dusky and velvety, speckled with patterns that resembled the starry sky. Though shy by nature, they were welcomed with open arms by Lilina, who found a cozy nook for them at a table draped in a moonlit silver cloth. The mother of the family, a gentle and soft-spoken spirit named Seluna, looked around with grateful eyes, the corners crinkling in a tender smile as she watched her children marvel at the shining decorations. From a clearing beyond the meadow came the faint sound of laughter and tinkling bells. Soon, a group of forest creatures padded softly toward the tables, bearing gifts for their beloved queen. A mother fox carried a small chestnut in her mouth, carefully setting it at the foot of the oak. Inside the chestnut shell lay a ring made of braided wildflowers, its scent sweet and fresh, a gift from the forest itself. A pair of sparrows fluttered over, each holding a delicate wisp of cloud plucked from the sky at sunrise. They gently laid these airy tokens in a basket that was woven of soft twigs and lined with moss. Even the smallest spiders scurried along the roots, leaving strands of pearlescent web that glistened in the morning light as their contribution. The sun climbed higher, its rays filtering through the canopy and casting a dappled glow upon the gathering. Every breath felt nourishing, infused with the perfume of blossoms and the buzzing lull of bees drifting by. Under the oak, families chatted in hushed voices, savouring honey-sweet pastries that had been carefully baked by woodland cooks. The pastries, shaped like tiny roses, melted softly on the tongue and filled the body with a pleasant warmth. Flutes of sparkling dew nectar were passed around, and each sip tasted of fresh morning air and gentle rainfall. Though the conversation was light and airy, the day's significance settled into each heart. Everyone awaited the arrival of their queen, who would come gracing the meadow with her presence and receive the heartfelt tributes of her realm. Meanwhile, perched high among the swaying branches of the oak, a merry troop of fairy storytellers got ready to weave tales of past celebrations. They were dressed in gossamer garments, embroidered with star-shaped sequins, designed to twinkle in the shifting light. Their stories would speak of the first festival, where mothers danced beneath the harvest moon, and the next, when music guided travellers from afar. Some stories told of how Queen Titania herself once roamed the forest in secret, gifting lost creatures with kind words and healing potions crafted from dew and starlight. Each tale would be shared gently, as though unveiling a cherished memory to dear friends. The hush in the meadow grew even softer as a subtle breeze carried the scent of jasmine and the light rustle of leaves. A radiant glow appeared on the horizon, faint at first, but growing steadily, as if dawn had decided to break anew. From that gentle light emerged Queen Titania, floating on a cushion of golden magic. Her dress shimmered with pale pink blossoms, layered with the soft glow of dew. A wreath of forest flowers crowned her hair, roses, lilies, and wisps of baby's breath that seemed to breathe softly as she moved. Her wings, sweeping out in delicate arcs, glowed in the bright morning sun. When Titania touched down among her people, she did so with the graceful warmth of a mother embracing her children. She folded her hands gently, inclining her head in a respectful bow to the guests who had gathered. The hush lingered, an unspoken tribute to her enduring kindness, until she spoke in a voice that flowed like a gentle stream. She thanked them for coming to celebrate, her words carrying notes of gratitude that shimmered in the air. She praised the mothers present and all mothers everywhere for the tender love they bestowed upon their little ones and on the realm itself. The music began, soft and playful, weaving through the meadow like a living lullaby. Fairy flutists lifted their reeds to their lips, coaxing out a lilting melody. Tiny bells chimed in harmony, accompanied by the beating of slender drums that kept time in a gentle heartbeat rhythm. Queen Titania walked among the tables, greeting mothers of every species, fairy, forest creature, even visiting sprites from distant glens. Each mother she met received a small token, a flower petal that glowed with an inner light, said to bring comfort in the quiet hours of the night. For Titania understood that motherhood was both joyful and challenging, and she wished to ease the hearts of all who nurtured new life. One by one, families stepped forward with their gifts. Each present was a symbol of gratitude, a glimmering pearl from a moonlit stream, a sweet melody composed by child fairies, a hand-woven basket of fresh herbs. As Titania accepted each offering, she responded with a warm smile and gentle words. The festival thrummed with a sense of unity, as though every soul gathered beneath the oak was connected by a shared thread of love and appreciation. Eventually, the music took on a subtle shift, drifting toward an even more soothing pace. Dancers took to a small clearing near the oak, where the grass was soft and sprinkled with daisies. Their slow, winding steps echoed the gentle swaying of the trees, and their arms flowed in graceful arcs, as if cradling invisible bundles of light. Children watched with wide, dreamy eyes, and some mimicked the elegant movements, stumbling in an adorable attempt to match the older dancers' rhythm. After the performance, the fairy storytellers descended from their perch. They formed a circle on a patch of moss dappled by sunlight, and invited everyone to gather close. The children snuggled up to their mothers, and even the forest creatures huddled around, ears perked to catch every word. In a hushed, melodic voice, the first storyteller began a tale about the earliest days of Fairyland, when Queen Titania roamed the woodlands in disguise, ensuring that newborn animals were safe, feeding them drops of honey if they were cold or weak. The story told of how she once rescued a young fawn during a fierce storm, shielding it beneath an oversized leaf until the rains passed. It was an illustration of her love for all living things, a motherly love that knew no boundaries. The second storyteller followed with a legend of a grand starlit night a century ago when Titania was crowned. The fairies recalled how they placed a crown of enchanted blossoms on her head, and moonbeams broke through the sky in shimmering pillars of light, a cosmic blessing upon the realm. From that night on, Titania's compassion extended beyond Fairyland to the edges of distant realms, always ensuring that mothers, wherever they might be, found solace and support. Listening to the stories, every creature present felt bathed in a tender sense of wonder. By midday, the meadow glowed with a cheerful energy, yet it remained soft enough to feel like a lullaby come to life. A gentle meal was shared: fresh berries, dew-kissed salads, warm loaves of brioche drizzled with honey, and orchard fruits that gleamed in the sun. Titania herself encouraged everyone to eat slowly, to savor every moment and every flavor, to cherish the companionship of mothers and children, friends and neighbors. Over this feast, conversation was gentle. Occasionally, a child's laughter rang out, bright as a tiny bell, or the rustle of leaves overhead formed a subtle canopy of sound. As the meal concluded, Titania rose and lifted her arms, her wings outstretched like petals unfolding at dawn. She spoke again, her voice carrying sweet echoes across the meadow. She thanked all the mothers for their nurturing spirits, acknowledging the small, everyday acts that formed the bedrock of Fairyland's happiness. She spoke of how love, given kindly and patiently, was the most powerful magic in existence. Then she sang a lullaby that she had composed, a gentle tune that washed over the crowd like a soft, comforting breeze. The melody rose and fell like the rhythm of a mother's heartbeat, woven with the faint chime of bells in the distance. In the hush that followed, many felt tears of quiet joy glisten at the corners of their eyes. The festival continued into the late afternoon, though time in Fairyland seemed to slow and stretch, as if preserving the warmth of the day. Some fairies napped in soft patches of shade, lulled by the hush of the gathering, while others strolled through the meadow, trading stories of their own mothers and the lessons they'd learned. The breeze carried the scent of sweetgrass and lilac, and the entire meadow seemed to hum with contentment. By now, the sun had begun its slow descent toward the horizon, painting the sky in gentle pinks and oranges. A group of fairy children decided to gather a bouquet of wildflowers for their mothers, wandering across the meadow hand in hand, occasionally spotting a hidden blossom that glowed faintly. Their mothers watched from afar with hearts full of pride and affection. Each child returned with a gift, a cluster of daisies, a bright poppy, or even a delicate orchid, and each flower seemed to glow with the unspoken message of love and thanks. Queen Titania, noticing that the evening hush would soon descend, gracefully made her way to the old oak's trunk. She drew from within her gown a small pouch woven of moonlit thread and opened it gently. Inside were shimmering flecks of fairy dust, each glimmering like a tiny star. She sprinkled the dust at the base of the oak, and it floated upward, forming a soft, glowing arc above the gathering. As it drifted slowly down, it created little sparkles in the air, settling on shoulders and hair, carrying a subtle warmth. Mothers felt a gentle tingle in their hearts, and children gazed up in awe, catching the dust in their hands and giggling as it tickled their palms. Then Titania offered a final benediction, her voice soft and unwavering, thanking the realm for cherishing mothers everywhere. She asked everyone to carry this spirit of love and tenderness beyond the meadow into every moment and every corner of life. With that, the queen slowly bowed her head, and the crowd responded with a heartfelt bow of their own, as though each was returning her blessing in a quiet wave of gratitude. The sun now lingered just above the horizon, its light turning golden and drowsy. Families began to say their farewells, gathering cloaks and baskets, offering last gentle hugs and wishes of well-being. Mothers gathered their children's hands or tucked them into safe spaces on their laps, to gently guide them back to their cozy homes. The forest creatures headed toward their dens, their eyes half-lidded with approaching sleep. Titania herself, seeing the day's success etched on each peaceful face, allowed a tranquil smile to settle upon her lips. She was the last to take flight, drifting upward with graceful ease, leaving a soft swirl of glittering dust in her wake. As the meadow returned to stillness, a few final notes from the fairy flutes echoed, the music fading into the hush of leaves stirring in the early evening breeze. Shadows elongated, merging with the soft carpet of grass, and tiny fireflies emerged to decorate the dusk with their gentle glow. The celebration might have ended, but its memory lingered in the air, an echo of warmth and devotion that would guide every dream that night. As dusk gently settled, the meadow quieted into a place of hushed reverence. Soft moonlight laced through the branches of the oak. One by one, the lanterns flickered out, their glow replaced by the soothing pulse of fireflies drifting across the grass. A calm stillness filled every corner, a silent lullaby that whispered through the air. In a glen not far from the old oak, a lullaby of crickets began, weaving together with the distant hush of a woodland stream. Where once there was merriment and celebration, now there was only a sweet, drowsy peace. The earth and sky exhaled in unison, as if tucking all creatures in for a well-deserved rest. The warm scent of evening blossoms mingled with the last notes of the day's festivities. Tonight, all who joined the celebration carried with them the soft glow of Queen Titania's blessing, a gentle reassurance that the bonds of love endure, that the magic of gratitude fills their hearts like a starry canopy overhead. Under the serene sky, they drifted off to sleep, each breath lighter and calmer than the last. The hush of Fairyland cradled them in endless comfort, wrapping them in a promise of renewal when morning's first light returned. And so, with eyes growing soft and voices falling silent, they each found rest in this timeless moment of motherly love. Good night, dear traveller. Sleep well. May the tender spirit of Mother's Day in Fairyland soothe your dreams and lull you into deep, peaceful slumber. Let this warmth remain with you through the night, guiding you softly into gentle dreams and carrying you forward with a serene heart.